Hello, everybody, and welcome to WNBA Courtside. This is the throes of when we're in despair. The season has ended, but we get to look back on it, and we've got the gang all with us. Kaunda, we'll deal with you later. Welcome, Lee. Welcome, Nthabiseng, and 4 Rings, Chama. How are you?
In the words of a poet from New York named Mano, hi haters.
Oh God.
He is just ungovernable, as they say. So let's get into the discussion this week. We're going to be talking about the season that was. This WNBA season was just really fantastic. And I know all of us have had our ups and our downs. Some of us supported this Aces in the finals, and Nthabiseng, that didn't end well for you, but you got your orange hoodie, and that's all that matters. Lee, we're going to be talking about a lot of your picks in terms of what happened with the old WNBA teams and just how close you came and how close I was to getting it right. But let's start with you, Lee, and your thoughts on the past season. What happened? I mean, were you happy with the way the season played out? Bubble and everything.
I think a round of applause goes to the WNBA, Kathy Engelbrandt, right? That's the commissioner.
Engelbrandt, yeah.
Engelbrandt, yes. As well as Adam Silver for doing the most. I think Premier League is still struggling occasionally with coronavirus cases. So is Italian League. So is League One. So is NFL. So is name a league, and all of them have had, even Formula One, all of them have had corona cases. And but the NBA, WNBA, maybe had a scare at best, but no one tested positive. So kudos to everybody. I thought it was a great season. I don't think there should be any asterisks put on anybody's accomplishments, because I think if anything, the competition can intensify in that kind of scenario. So I think it's as competitive as we can get. I don't think nobody should be putting any asterisk on anybody.
Yeah, I agree with you totally, because it's one of those things where everybody like, it'll be the bubble championship, but weirdly, and like you say, I think the competitiveness actually sort of ramped up, because although you don't have the fans there, now it became about the players doing what they do. And Nthabiseng, I know that you are a fan of everything WNBA. What were the things that stood out for you in this season?
Honestly, it was how the ladies really came together as a unit to fight a specific cause and did not miss a beat with that. They were very vocal, whether you were in the bubble or outside the bubble. They were very supportive of the ladies that were not in the bubble, because it's easy to kind of get to have animosity with each other because of you picking to play and things like that. So I thought that was really well done. I thought that the ladies performed well. It was back to basics, back to what it looked like when you were playing for a small college team, what it looked like when you were playing for a small high school team. So that brought the competition back, and it actually increased the competition, if anything. They got their viewership skyrocketed this season. And I feel like the ladies got the respect that they have deserved for all these years. So, like, for me, I'm like, at least people can see what I've been seeing all these years, and not talking smack about women's basketball and the WNBA. So.
Oh man, Nthabiseng, people talking smack. Kaunda mentioned haters. It's an unbelievable thing when you look at the product itself. When you look at just how good these players are, it isn't just like let the ladies play. This is women's basketball at its absolute best. Now, Kaunda, I know you've got a lot to say about how the season went, and most of it positive, except for your LA Sparks. I'm going to keep bringing that up. What are the things that you enjoyed the most about this particular season?
Cyrus, basically, I echo what Nthabiseng says. Just the level of play was beautiful. First of all, if you take it back, there was the whole Corona situation, and we didn't know whether we were going to get the WNBA or the NBA back. At some point, everything was up in the air. Then, to me, I was so spoiled for choice. Never in my life have I had the opportunity to watch NBA and WNBA games at the same time.
Oh my God.
It was like I was living in a basketball buffet, if you will. I was like, okay, maybe I'll save this game for later. Let me watch this one. And like Nthabiseng says, I think the fact that people were at home and the NBA was on at the same time as the WNBA, a lot of people maybe who would miss the WNBA gave it a chance, if you will. I'll put that in air quotes because I don't think it needed a chance. It just needed people to pay proper attention. And people really got to see women's basketball at its best. I mean, the kind of talent that's in that league, the kind of games, the kind of matchups, the kind of results we saw, the kind of close games, even some of the blowout games. It went to show you the kind of talent that's in the WNBA. So, Cyrus, I was a sport for choice. I loved this season. It was fantastic. And my Sparks didn't win, but it was still a great season.
Yeah, we know. In fact, we're going to show you exactly who the champions are. Just in case people have forgotten. Because I think it's one of those things. And you were somehow doing a really incredible ventriloquist move there somehow. But I must say, the thing for me about this entire season was just how on point everything was. You had the ladies playing some really great basketball. You had the coaches doing their jobs well. But I think you also had a situation where it looked as if this is what professionalism looks like in a basketball sense. And I think that kudos to the NBA and the WNBA for getting the bubbles right, getting the season right, and making sure we had basketball action. Now, Lee, I'm going to start with you because this is also a topic that I think you can speak to for a lot of time. What is your favorite thing? Were there specific, like, is it that you focus primarily on a team? What do you look at? What did you enjoy the most?
So everybody knows, it's not well kept secret, I was focusing on Connecticut Suns, obviously. I was watching them closely because they're one of my favorite teams, because they have one of my favorite players, which is Alyssa Thomas. So I was watching them closely, even though it started off terrible. I mean, you have me at the beginning saying that you can't have an identity where you're literally looking at two scorers to score and everybody else just watches them. Of course, Diana Taurasi has my heart, has my soul, has my wig, has everything. Give her everything. Give her all her credit. So I'm always watching Diana, and therefore always watching her teammates, because I mean, if you're watching Diana, you're watching the Phoenix Suns.
Yeah.
I was taken aback a little by the Washington Mystics. I did not think that they were able to do what they did, especially initially. It was just a bunch of bench players, if we're keeping it a buck. In fact, a seat warmers, And what Maisha did with the season, it was a transcendental season. Is that the word? I'm messing up words. It was just she just leveled up in a different way. And I think, especially the other ones, Ariel Atkins and Ariel Powers, they're still young. So they're still learning the ropes, but they showed glimpses of brilliance. So that's definitely a team. I mean, we're going to talk about this eventually, but that's definitely a team to look out for in terms of the contention race. Because when everybody comes back, when your Christy Tollivers come back, when your EDDs come back, and they come back to this group that done hustled, they showed heart. For me, they're almost like a mini Miami Heat in the sense of that they really showed and played with heart, despite the odds stacked against them and despite people not thinking much of them. So yeah, those were pretty much the primary guys that I was watching. The Aces, of course, just by virtue of what they were able to do without Cambage, because we all were scratching our heads. We're all just like, is Asia Wilson going to be doing heroics again? So yeah, I think those are the players that I watched for during the season.
But I think, and I agree with a lot of your picks there, because I know that for me personally, I was going to say, look, the Chicago Sky. Those are the sort of team that I loved watching. I'm a big Storm fan, and I don't want to just keep hopping on about the champions. Yes, we're the champions, to quote a Kaunda Chama. But I think that the Chicago Sky were one of the sort of not quite surprise packages for me, but seeing just how well they could play, and then also a breakout star in Kalia Copper, who was just incredible. I think the one thing I do wish we had though I'm not sure how they would have pulled it off, but they probably could have, would have been an all-star game. It would have been great to see some of these guys get the recognition for the hard work that they've been putting in. Now, Nthabiseng, what is your pick on this?
I was really excited to see what Stewie was going to do when she comes back, because coming back from an injury like that, it's kind of tricky to know how you're going to come back. It's a mental thing. Any athlete knows what a ACL injury feels and looks like.
That's true. That's true. That's true.
I've come close to that kind of injury, and I know what it feels like to be in that position. So seeing her perform the way she did, and even getting a championship, I don't know how people are not talking about that. You know what I mean? I don't know how people are not noticing the comeback that Stewie had. Let's just talk about both NBA and WNBA for a second. Has there ever been a player who was injured due to an ACL tear or any harsh injury ACL, like that come back and win a chip? No one's talking about that. Like, I respect Stewie so much when it comes to that. So I was really excited to see her. I mean, I was excited to see the Aces play, because I thought Liz was going to come back and things like that. But, that didn't happen. But I still stuck with them and wanted to see them go. I love the Storm like you do, Cyrus, although I was just rooting for the Aces like that. But I was excited to see that. Arike was one person that I really wanted to see how she was going to perform, and she really lived up to those standards. To Lee's point, I've been a Skylar Diggins fan for as long as I can remember, to the point where I wanted to get the headband and everything. So that's why I'm such a big critic of hers, because I really do love it.
We're going to cut you off there. Now you got to get a headband. Like, whenever we're recording next, you got to get a headband. That's just how it goes.
No, I really love Skylar. But, and the thing is, like, how she came back from, her pregnancy to what she's doing. I could see that she's going to get back to the Skylar that we knew. So I was excited to see her. Man, there's just so many players that I really wanted to see. But definitely Stewie was number one, and the Aces. Those were my picks.
Those are great picks. Lee, you know that you can always be like, yeah, she's on point. I think we've got to snap fingers as well when people are making the very best points. Kaunda, what was your favorite thing? What was the team that you enjoyed?
Thanks for saving the best till last. Well, I always look forward to watching
arrogance of Lakers fans. That's all I have to say. The arrogance of Lakers fans. We're gonna be here for a while, everybody. Just buckle up.
I'm in. Seatbelt is on.
I love my Los Angeles Sparks. I was looking forward to watching Candace Parker, Nneka Ogumike. Cyrus, I love the Ogumike sisters, and I knew Chiney was going to be playing, but I was very excited to see what Nneka was going to do. Candace Parker, I actually expected them to appear in the finals, but hey, they didn't. And one of my favorite players from the Las Vegas Aces, Asia Wilson, fantastic performance. It's a pity about what happened in the finals, but she showed up, and I really missed having Liz Cambage on that Aces squad. But I was hoping, and I can live in hope, and I'm still hoping for next season that maybe Maya Moore comes back. I love me some Maya Moore. That woman can ball. But besides everything that was going on, and I know the rookies were looking good, and you got your MVPs and your Defensive Player of the Year. What's up, Candace? There was a young lady. There was a young lady at the Atlanta Dream called Kennedy Carter. We will be speaking about that young lady for some years to come. Came out of Texas. She could handle the ball. I think she gave us 17, 3 and 3 average for the season. That young lady, I watched a whole bunch of Atlanta games, and I just thought, wow, this guard can handle that rock. She can go to the hoop. She can shoot with confidence. I really think, besides, we enough respect to your Arikes, and enough respect to all the other guards in the league, but I think that young lady is coming strong, and I think if she maintains that trajectory, There's a star in the making there.
I love that because it's something that we haven't necessarily. It's somebody that we haven't spoken about enough, and Carter really is that kind of player. But there's so many up and coming players who we can look forward to coming in next season, and especially somebody like Breanna Stewart, who we didn't actually see enough of, and injury.
Yeah. I told y'all about them freshmen.
If there's one thing Lee loves, it's being right. No problem with that. No. But I think the thing is, seeing the likes of Satu Sabali, seeing the likes of Breanna next season, because they should have a little bit more experience, seeing exactly how things go. And then we'll obviously have a new freshman class coming in. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens with the WNBA next season. Just to echo some of your points that all of you have made, Arike, oh my goodness. I mean, and we'll talk about her a little bit later when we talk about the all WNBA teams, but when you look at somebody like Arike, you could see that she had that superstar thing from college. She just brought it with her. She just needs to have the pieces around her in order to succeed. And I think that she's the kind of person who I can see championships in her future. I also think that a team that we shouldn't sleep on at all has got to be the Minnesota Lynx. And I've been talking about a few of their players for a while now. And, people say to me, oh, man, why are you being that guy? Why are you leaving X, Y, and Z off of your All-WNBA list? And then I go, have you seen who's playing for the Lynx and what they are doing? So as much as you might be missing Maya Moore, I think the future's in good hands there. And I think that Cheryl Reeve has got a good team, especially when you look at somebody like Crystal Dangerfield, who is the Rookie of the Year. But at this point, what I'm going to do, right, because we've got to talk about the All-WNBA teams and the controversy around it before the time runs out. Nthabiseng, you didn't get to make your pick when we did our selections for the All-WNBA teams. Now, I'll start with, are you happy with the teams that were chosen? Let's start with the second team, right? I mean, we've got Diana Taurasi, Duana Bana, Nafisa Collier, one of my favorites, Skylar Diggins-Smith, also known as the Headband, and Maisha Hines-Allen. Was that a good second team for you? Do you think the people in there who should have been in the first team? Because I know Lee be like sipping tea on this one. There we go.
I really think I think these girls should have been in there.
Taurasi.
No, Taurasi is in there, but I think that sorry?
Yeah, Taurasi's there. My bad.
Right. I was talking about the Connecticut girl. What's your girl's name again, Lee?
Alyssa
Thomas.
Yeah.
I think she should have.
Yeah, Alyssa got snubbed.
I think I think that was a snub on her behalf. I'm not too mad at the team in general, but I think that there could have been some pieces that were moved there to put her on there. But
wait, could you pop it up again?
Yeah, no problem.
It is Skylar and
Skylar, that's Maisha Hines-Allen.
Taurasi, right?
Yeah.
So it's two guards and three wings, pretty much.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, so you've got two backcourt players and three frontcourt players. The thing here was Alyssa Thomas, and I think that in the postseason she really showed out. But was she better than Maisha Hines-Allen for the majority of the season, considering that the first team, and we'll show that to you now, had these players on that list? So I don't see where Alyssa Thomas fits in for me, but I understand it. You almost want to have reserves when you're looking at the all WNBA teams.
They need to have a third team.
Oh, look, a third team.
Now you're handing out participation trophies. No.
You're the one who actually said we shouldn't be doing that, Lee. So
you're bumping into your own wall, Lee. You're bumping into your own wall.
No, but we have it in the NBA, right? Yeah. Because sometimes you do have more, especially with the guard situation, where you just, because obviously how it's set up, where they have two backcourts and three front courts. Sometimes there are guards that get snubbed because of that.
Definitely. I also understand why they're only going to pick two teams in the WNBA, because as good as Alyssa Thomas was, the other people that might make up that team might be a hodgepodge of people who are like, okay, I guess we just needed to make a team for Alyssa Thomas. But Nthabi, just to go back to the point, so were you happy with the construction of the first and the second teams?
The second, I mean, it's a tricky one. I'm like, on the fence with both of them. I do really think that Alicia Thomas deserved to be in the second team, not necessarily the first team, but I do think that she deserved to be in the second team. Now, when it comes to the first team, guys, I love Candace Parker. She is a dope player. Mara.
Put me back on the screen, yo. Put me back on the screen, yo.
This is the first team, peeps. This is the first team.
No, man. I think there was participation trophies being handed out here, low key.
So you think Candace Parker shouldn't have been there? I mean, considering she won. Yeah, she won Defensive Player of the Year. True, she didn't get on the All-WNBA defensive teams.
I gotta come to my girl's defense here. I think Candace Parker bought the hoodie just before the one Nthabiseng bought, and they told Nthabiseng to come back the next day. She is too angry with that girl. But I'm gonna say something a little bit controversial.
Yes, yes.
There's a woman in the first team, if I might point out, wearing LeBron's, who I believe should have been the second team. But that's just me. I put her in the second team, and she made it to the first team.
And she's talking about Arike.
Yeah, of course he is. Of course he is. And I think that you said something similar as well, Lee, because when you constructed your team, she wasn't in your first team. I think you had Taurasi.
Well, that's because I'm forever, like, for me, the fact that Diana Taurasi is doing what she's doing at 37, 38, for me, that trumped what she was. I mean, I get it. Like, I'm not hating on anybody. Like, I understand why she's in the first team. I mean, scoring leader. It's very rare to have a scoring leader not on your first team, right? So, but for me, I just felt like what Diana was doing was far more impressive than her. Because anyways, the person she's in her second year. Like that's the kind I would imagine that you'd be on the trajectory. So I don't know.
But I'm
not mad at it though. I'm not mad. Taurasi's in the second, so I'll take it.
Okay. I mean, you were mad when we were having the discussion earlier, like a few weeks back, but I understand your point. And I think that was the thing for me about this was Arike was she was such a breakout scorer that regardless of just how bad the team might have functioned, she was doing everything. And when Kobe was doing that on bad Laker teams, nobody ever said, why is this guy in the first team or the second team, right? Now, I'm not saying she Kobe, but I'm saying she put up some really, really big performances. So I think that was actually pretty.
But it just depends on what rubric we're using. It's back to the whole MVP definition. It's like, what rubric are you using? And you realize we're all using different rubrics.
Yeah. Look, I mean, I love that you have also dipped into the thesaurus for your knowledge there. I know the criteria we've been using has been a little different. And I think this is also one of those things where it comes down to when the people are voting and they're saying, okay, fine, these are who's going to be in our first, second teams. You look at it and you say, how do we leave Arike out? And how do we then move other pieces in? And to finish off, I want to ask Nthabi this because you say that Candace Parker shouldn't be there. Who from this second team should then have moved up to the first team if Candace drops down? Because I didn't have Candace Parker in my first team when I did mine. And I chose Nafisa Collier primarily because of just how good she was across the board. But Candace Parker's numbers were they were as good as Nafisa's were.
Like I said, I love Candace Parker, but it's just there's a couple of people that they don't put respect on their names, guys. To be fair, and it's just because of I don't know whatever rubric or whatever standard that people are using. But I think Candace could have been on a second team.
Big words alert.
I think they put her there out of respect. I don't think they put her there mainly because of her numbers. I'm being so serious.
But in Nthabi, her numbers were
okay.
Her numbers were great.
Her numbers were solid.
Yes, I don't disagree.
And she's a great player too.
And Defensive Player of the Year.
No, I mean, if we're gonna get into this defensive player, of
She's the
year,
engine of that offense, FYI.
Yeah.
guys.
But the question was, who replaces her? Because
That's the difficult thing. I can't find somebody to replace her. That's why I can't really.
Therefore, this stacks of
Therefore,
hatery.
it goes without saying.
Man, this is so shady of me to like. Yeah, I don't know.
You're having
Maybe
a
I'm
go.
hating on
That's not a
Candace today.
replacement. Why are we here?
What about Stewie?
In the words,
Stewie is there.
Who
So
is
anyway,
there?
Stewie is
In
there.
the-
Okay, my bad. The first team is fine.
I like
I'll
this.
own up to it. The first team is fine.
We bullied Nthabiseng into making a different selection. Our bad. We just went with facts in Nthabiseng. Our bad. But
No, I would have heard her out if she was like, you know what, I found Joanna Bonner more impressive than Candace. I would have been like,
I
you
was
know,
gonna
I
say
can see, but she's like, I have
say
no one.
that.
No.
I was gonna say that, but then I just thought about Joanna's numbers and Candace's numbers, and I was like, okay, yeah, Joanna can stay in the second team.
and I think that's basically it. If anything, a lot of people were kind of like, okay, DT maybe, but I think the first team was pretty good. I mean, if we're looking at it though, what was the controversy around this? And perhaps maybe it was more the controversy around the defensive teams than it was around the first and second teams, because I think that in terms of the selections, they got the selections right. I think these are the players, the first team in particular. I mean, Courtney Vandersloot, guys, I mean, sheesh.
poetry in motion.
Assists. Asia Wilson and Breanna Stewart, they're shoo-ins. So, like I'd said Nafisa because, I like Nafisa. I think that she had a great season. And I think that when you look at just how well the Minnesota Lynx did compared to the LA Sparks, that, she had a greater impact on that team. But who am I to say? But I think we're gonna have to call it quits there, guys. I didn't want to, but even though the season ends, this show too must end. So thank you everybody for being part of this. I think what we might do is take a bit of a hiatus for a short while, and then we start building up to the new season when the time comes. Kaunda, anything you want to say to your fans?
Yeah, Lake Show. See you in El Segundo. We got this. Rings galore. Hey, Sue Bird, congratulations! Yeah. You got your 4th ring before LeBron. You had a virtuoso season. Love you, Sue Bird. Congratulations.
Now that I can.
I know we're gonna recognize brilliance. You gotta recognize brilliance, guys. And I hope she comes back for one more season, maybe even 2. I don't mind her last season, her coming off the bench and just doing what she does.
She's just incredible.
Enough respect, Sue Bird. Enough respect. 17 seasons, 4 championships, still smiling.
All the way to the bank. Well, we hope. I mean, we can only hope that, they start making bank too. Lee, any last words before we close out?
We don't know when the new season is coming in, but when the new season comes, the rules stay the same. No one is allowed to talk nonsense about Russell Westbrook and about Diana Taurasi. That is it. Beginning, middle, end. If you do, drop a pin, and in 10 minutes, I'll be at your door.
You better buy your man a jump shot first.
I'm warning you.
Russell Westbrook. He looks like LeBron trying to get a free throw.
Drop your pin. You have my number. Drop your pin.
Okay, enough. I can see it. He's dropping a pin. He's saying before they really get heated.
I know. Well, you know what? It was a great season. I'm glad that we got to do this. I can't wait to see the next season. And please keep talking smack about the ladies, and then I'll send Lee on you guys. But keep watching the WNBA. Keep watching the WNBA. Keep watching the WNBA. That's it.
I gotta echo that echoing sentiment. I think that the WNBA is one of the great basketball
all the
leagues.
cheese at Cyrus's house.
Oh, it's just what we do. It's just what we do. I'm a cheese expert. But thank you everybody for watching. This has been WNBA Courtside. We've enjoyed the season with you. We are looking forward to the next season. We know that the ball is coming back. It's always bouncing. It's always going into the hoop. Make sure you stay with us.